How to poach an egg. So today I'm going to show you how to poach an egg. It's very simple. I've got everything you need here. You just got a pan of water. You can use really any pan. I would definitely recommend a shallow pan over a giant pan full of boiling water so you don't have to go fishing for it. I've got a pitcher of water here, a little container for your eggshells, a paper towel lined plate, and a slotted spoon. That's it, that's all you need. You can certainly use some vinegar in there, and I usually do. The purpose of vinegar in poaching water is to help bind the proteins. So it does give you a little bit of a cleaner looking egg when you poach it, but I've poached plenty of eggs with no vinegar in the water with zero trouble. So to start off with, I have water that is about 180 degrees, right about where you want to keep it for poaching. You can use an instant read thermometer, but essentially if you are below a boil and you've got steam coming off of your water like we do now, you're good to go. So if your egg's taking too long to cook, just turn the temperature up a little bit. If it starts to boil, just turn it down. Super simple. Start out with the egg. You're just gonna tap it right on the edge and crack it very slowly into the water. You can also crack this directly into a bowl and then slide it in there, but really they're just not that delicate. So we're gonna go ahead and do 3 eggs here. Perfect. So we're gonna let those hang out. You can take the edge of your spoon if the whites don't seem to be covering one of the yolks and kind of encourage them up and around. But actually the whites have come over the yolk so beautifully enough that we don't need to swirl the water, we don't need to mess with it. We're just gonna sit there and let them do their thing. So we're about 2 minutes in. Poaching up to a couple eggs takes about 4 minutes. If you have a big pan and you drop, let's say 8 to 10 eggs in it, you're gonna almost double your time. But 4 minutes here is the approximated time. Once you've got your eggs in there for a minute, you'll see some of the white film coming to the surface. So you can just skim that off. Just be careful not to chop your egg yolk in half. It's very disappointing. And that goes right into your eggshell bowl. All right, we're just gonna pick up an egg and check and see how it's doing here. So you just go right underneath it with your slotted spoon. Bring it up. This is hot, so be careful, but I'm just gonna test the whites. You're looking, you can shake it, check for the jiggle there. So this egg is almost finished. It's got just a little bit of jiggle going right around the yolk, but most of these whites are firm, which is exactly what you want to look for. So we're just going to drop it back in for about another 30 seconds and it'll be good to go. So I'm going to pull this egg up and take a peek. You can see, even dropping them into the same pan at the same time, how the whites will settle differently for each egg. This egg looks a lot different than the previous one, and it is a lot less further along because the whites sat on top of the yolk instead of separating around it. Both perfectly fine. This egg will probably take about 1 minute more than the other to finish cooking though. So let's check in here with our 3rd egg. Yeah, the whites on this one also sat neatly around the edges, which is my ideal way for it to settle. It's perfect. This is firm. It's going to continue cooking for a little bit after we set it down because it is still so hot. So I like to pull it when there's just a slight bit of jiggle around the yolk there. But right now I have a perfectly tender yolk. The whites are cooked through, so it's ready to go. So you just transfer that to your paper towel lined plate. It slides right off. And if you start to see some bubbles in the water, we're getting there, we're just gonna turn it down a wee bit. Check this one, he's done as well. And then let's check back in with our 3rd egg here. Yep, this one needs just another few minutes, so we're gonna let that sit. All right, so we're gonna check back in with our 3rd egg here. Yeah. So there's almost no jiggle when I shake it like that, and it's pretty well cooked through in the whites. So we're gonna go ahead and transfer that off to the paper towel. Perfect. So if you need to cook eggs for a crowd or you've got several people to feed, I usually stop cooking them just a little bit before I think they're done. And then when you're ready to serve them, you just pick them up off the paper towel here with the spoon, slide them right back in for just 10 seconds, pull them back out, it heats them all the way back through, and you're set and ready to go. And that is how to poach an egg.